Hey everyone, Sean Clement here, Royal Quebec, and we are in our temporary facility at Golf 18, thanks to Mr. Jacques Côté, who has been very gracious in letting us use his facility while ours is being built. And things are underway. You should be ready early January. After the holiday season, we'll be in our new location. In the meantime, I was transferring some stuff from our move to Quebec City. I had all my golf bags there in the garage, and I came upon my little 73-degree wedge from Feel. Have a look at this puppy. Look at that leading edge right there. So 73-degree wedge. And then obviously with that, you need that sharp leading edge. If you're in the heavy rough around the green with 11 to 13 on the stimp, and you needed to get that ball up and landing very soft. Isn't that fun? So I got a 2-yard carry, and this is what's cool, is our little GC quad here, hey, look at that, is giving us 74 degrees of launch, 575 RPM. How cool is that? So that is the ultimate flop shot right there. And as we go along, the carry on this thing, so I'm going to take a little bit of a draw here, play it just a hair closed, ball a little bit back in the stance, and I'm going to release through this thing with a little bit more juice. That's about as good as I can compress it. So we're looking at a carry of 43 yards and a launch of 54 degrees. So look at that. And we look at the descent angle here is 60 degrees at a peak height of 54 feet. Isn't that cool? So the different usage of this particular wedge is, hey, if you've got a golf course with thick rough around the greens, I mean, it's the perfect US Open wedge for sure. And you needed to get that ball, landing very softly. Well, you noticed I had 1 yard carry on a firm floor, and look at how far that ball rolled. That's it. So I had a 1 yard carry with a ½ yard roll, and that's going to do that's going to be a lot of fun. If you're in plugged lies, have a look at my buried bunker shot, Sean Clement. That very sharp leading edge is going to have, miraculous properties as far as getting the ball out of a buried lie in the bunker. And if you're playing on clay, this very sharp leading edge that's very close to the ground, I mean, the bounce on this is basically 2 degrees bounce. And so you need to slice through the clay. So this is the wedge that you need if you're at a golf course that has a very small amount of sand, basically on top of clay. Then this is your wedge right here. So you can actually do regular flop shots, which would basically be what we call an intentional fat shot out of the bunker. Okay, so the usage for that, depending on the golf course that you're playing on, of course, because 67% of all your shots are basically inside of 100 yards to the green. And if the conditions are very difficult around the green in your neck of the woods, then hey, I recommend you get on eBay or you check out where you can get this Feel wedge. If I put that ball on that, those fiber-built mats, they're like brush mats. So with this particular wedge, you're basically whiffing. So I'm opening the face of this wedge, and all I'm focused on, and you remember one of the greatest analogies that we can use is to cut through the stem of the dandelion, right? So if I get my grass whip, you remember that? So have a look at my video entitled Grass Whip Sean Clement, or Greatest Training Aid, the Grass Whip. I'm just put the ball on the turf that they use here for rough in these simulators, which is very similar to those fiber-built brush mats. So I see that dandelion stem, and I'm going to cut through that dandelion stem. So you notice how I just breezed right through the stem of the dandelion, and the ball just stays there. Well, that 73-degree wedge is also a great club to practice that with. So this is what you should be seeing at address. You should never be looking at the ball, especially if you top the ball. What you want to do is look at, so I'm going to put my wedge here behind the ball. My eyes are on that little sliver of grass between the leading edge of the club and the ball. And what my mind sees is the blade cutting through the stem of the dandelion. So in slow motion, I'm coming, so I'm going to obviously play the ball a little forward to center. I'm coming down. So notice the ball, the equator of the ball is well above the sole of the club. So now I'm cutting through the stem of that dandelion, and you can see how easy it's going to be for the ball to just pass and roll over the top. So I see the stem of the dandelion, cut through. Notice the ball doesn't move. So you got that perfect image of you cutting through the dandelion stem. I mean, that is just brilliant. So if you now put the ball on a slightly thinner piece of turf and do the same thing, do you see that? I basically hit there, which is about a yard out. So there's the ultimate flop shot. And all I'm doing is I'm playing it as a fade. The club is in the center, the ball forward of the club, and I am just staying a little left of my intermediate point. So I'm just staying a little left of that little sandy turf. So gather, cut through. How about that? Now, if I give that just a hair less momentum, I'm just going to let it fall through the stem. Now, falling through the stem, you remember, have a look at my lumberjack drill, okay? So I got two videos on that, the sledgehammer lumberjack and the lumberjack versus the surgeon. So I got my axe, I heave the axe, and I let it fall through the twig. Now, if I'm letting it fall through the stem of the dandelion here, my brain is seeing continuity beyond it. So just as I let the arms fall, now, I'm not going to let the arms fall into me. I'm going to let the arms fall past me and through the stem. So you notice how the body gets out of the way there? The brain has to go get the ground, uses the ground to get the body out of the way so that my momentum can cut through the stem. So it's a very, very different image than hitting the ball. You're always going to accelerate even when you're just letting gravity do it. So I gather, let it fall. Isn't that gorgeous? The perfect whip through the stem. Do the same thing here. Gather, let it fall. And that's all you need. So I'm letting it fall through the stem of the dandelion, 65 degrees of launch. Gather, fall. So I'm actually getting better results in my flop shot there than when I'm using more juice. Gather, fall. Look at that. So I just need to aim a little less to the left, and I should be able to pop this right into my bucket. I'm just going to do one more attempt. Can't do it any better than that. So a little less momentum when we had that. So I hope you enjoyed the content in that particular video. There's some sweet nuggets of important focus in there. And hope you enjoyed, having a little journey with me and my 73-degree wedge. And, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. Give me a subscription, give me a like, and we'll see you next week. Finally.